Hey there, welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of December 21st, 2020. So this is an important week. We have a solstice, we have Jupiter and Saturn coming together, which is a super rare event. And we also have some other astrology that is pretty intense. So I'm excited to share this with you. My name is Shawna McGrath. I'm an astrologer and a counselor in San Diego. As always, I will have 3 tips for you to make the most out of the astrology this week. So the week, we start right away because we have the solstice happening on Monday. So the solstice is related to the cycles of the sun. We have the solstice when the sun moves into the sign of Capricorn or when it moves into the sign of Cancer. So these mark a shift, a change in the amount of light that we have in the sky. So this marks the beginning of winter. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it marks the beginning of summer. If you're in the southern hemisphere. So the word solstice literally translates to the sun is standing still. So you can think of this as there's a slowing down and a stillness before shifting directions. And so we can work with this. We can make this a symbol by attuning to this energy in our lives, by being still, by pausing, and by contemplating where your solar consciousness is, where your intellect and your mind and your conscious awareness is focused. And this is going to change depending on where you are in the world, but also what's happening in your personal life. So this is happening on Monday, and I am very excited to be hosting a Solstice Meditation Circle. I'll have more info about that in the link below. Would love to have you join me for this very special event. So the other thing that's happening also on Monday is Jupiter will come together with Saturn. So this is maybe you've heard a little buzz about this transit. It's also called the Great Conjunction. And this is because in ancient astrology, these were the biggest and the most long-term and the farthest out planets that ancient people knew about. We didn't have Uranus and Neptune and Pluto because they were not visible or are not visible to the naked eye. So Jupiter and Saturn are the 2 planets that are farthest away, longest cycle, that we can still see with our visible eye. So this is a coming together of energy that is collective, that is more about world events and collective events, that is around growth and law and justice and manifestation. Those are all Jupiter keywords. And then Saturn, which is about structure and boundaries and systems. So for you personally, this is a big change also, because this is about where and how you grow and how you create sustainable structures in your life. This is a coming together. This is like a new seeding point for you. And if you watched last week's video, you know that Jupiter and Saturn are now in the sign of Aquarius. So this is a big change too, that's changing signs. So these planets are in an entirely new place in your birth chart. They're in Aquarius, so whatever house rules Aquarius, that's important to look at. What does that house signify for you? What areas of life? Is it career or relationships or family or community? Is it your home, your children, etc.? So there is a potential for a new beginning here. And this does not mean that everything starts right away immediately. This is like contemplation time. Like, what is it that you want? What is it that you're building? What is important to you? So this, again, is a big time. And it is a time of pausing and reflecting on what you want. What are you doing with your life? Like, those are really the questions that are being asked right now. The other layer of this also on Monday is that the first quarter moon is in Aries. It's actually at 0 degrees of Aries. And so first quarter moon is a time of breaking through resistance, where you may encounter either internal or external resistance. So to me, just that this this first quarter moon is also happening when we have the solstice, when we have Jupiter and Saturn. It feels important to prioritize you. And this has actually been a common theme in the astrology consultations that I've been doing this week, is there's this theme around what is it that you want? And this is not selfish. This is actually like the starting point. This is the set point. What is it that's important to you? And then that informs the decisions that you make. Because if you're putting other people's priorities first, or other people's feelings first, or trying to like mold yourself in order to accommodate others, that's not going to be as fulfilling for you. And we could say that applies any time in life, but especially so when we're talking about the first quarter moon, when we're talking about Jupiter and Saturn coming together, because that Jupiter-Saturn, that is a creation transit, that is a manifestation transit. So what is it that you're creating, and what resistance, either external or internal, do you need to break through in order to be who it is that you want to be, to create this life that is for you? Now, we have another transit that's a little bit intense. And again, I'll have some tips for you on how to work with this. So on Wednesday, Mars will square Pluto. And this is intense. This is like heat, this is fire, this is passion. Mars is about action. And this is Mars in Aries, right? So the moon is also there. This is about like really wanting something very, very intensely. Pluto is about intensity. It's about deep, deep desires. It's also about unconscious tendencies or unconscious patterns, unconscious behaviors. So I want you to be very aware as much as you can, especially earlier in the week, Monday through Wednesday. How are you responding? How are you reacting? And is there a reaction that's coming up where you can hold that within yourself, and instead of reacting, where you can decide what it is that you want? And because it's a square, there is a bit of tension here. So again, I would just, notice, maybe take a pause before taking an action, and making it a conscious decision versus a knee-jerk reaction. That's going to help you out a lot this week. Now, the last transit that I'll share with you, and then we'll move on to the tips, is a bit lighter and more helpful. So it's Mercury and the Sun will trine Uranus. So Uranus is in Taurus, it's an earth sign, right? And then we know the Sun is in Capricorn because we've just had the solstice. So these are both earth signs. That means that there is a trine which is harmonious. A trine is when everyone's on the same page. Things just flow, it's just effortless, and it's easy. And so this is the energy with Mercury and the Sun. So this Mercury and the Sun trine Uranus. So this to me is like your mind is on track. You have these downloads of ideas. You know what you need to do. And you have the willpower to execute that. Now, like I said, I would be like really watchful of the Mars-Pluto. That's like your instinctual energy. Like that's like the raw, like I want it. It's yeah, just more instinctual. But your mind, your intellect is very sharp at this time. So I would especially pay attention to dreams or ideas. Intuition is very subtle. Uranus is associated with intuition and divine insights. And it may be something that just like very subtly pops into your head, maybe when you're taking a shower or when you're going for a walk. Like those are the things that I want you to pay attention to. If there is an animal or something that catches your eye when you're thinking about a particular topic, pay attention to those things. That's the Uranian energy. So, 3 tips for you. Tip number 1 is to be still this week, especially Monday. There's so much energy that's churned up right now in the world. It's a very angsty kind of energy, and then we have that in the astrology as well, especially with Mars Pluto. The solstice is asking you to pause, to be still. So as much as, now whatever that means to you, maybe that means physically being still, maybe that means doing some kind of mental or breathing practice to still your mind, whatever works for you. Number one, be still. Number two is to feel everything. And I'm saying that because also Mars Pluto, but it's like whatever is coming up for you right now, this is important stuff. And again, this is, I've seen this a lot in my client work just the last week or two, that the things that people are like really feeling, it's important. Like these are important times, these are important moments. And I'm saying that because what we have happening with Jupiter, Saturn. This is an important change because a lot of people are either ending or beginning a Saturn transit because of the shift in energy, the shift in the signs. And so I want you to feel everything and to take yourself seriously. Like what you're feeling is not stupid, it's not petty, it's not insignificant. You are important and your feelings are important, and you know, it doesn't always mean that an action needs to be taken, but I want you to like really honor, to feel everything. Tip number 3 is to write down your goals and intentions for the next 2 years, let's say. So I'm saying that because this is about a Saturn sign transit. So Saturn will be in Aquarius for about 2.5 years or so, 2.5, 3 years. So I want you to write down, what is it that you want for yourself during this time? And I realize like goals and intentions can be sort of like a charged topic for people. So this is just really, like, you can call it a wish list, you can call it a manifestation list, but whatever resonates for you, what is it that you want for yourself? And this can change, it can be fluid, but it's going to be your set point. And the decisions that you make, especially going into the new year, you're going to hold that for yourself. Like that's going to be the foundation that you build upon. Again, you can always change, but this is like your anchor, your Saturn anchor to create for yourself. So that's tip number 3, to write down your goals and your intentions for the next few years. Now, if you have my 2021 moon journal, I was thinking it might be kind of fun for you to write that somewhere in the journal, either the front or the back, so that you can have that when you're doing your new moon and your full moon rituals or reflections in the moon journal, that you can have that there. So you know, feel free to do that, or let me know how that goes for you. If you haven't gotten my moon journal yet, you can find that on my website, shawnamcgrathAstrology.com. I'll have a link down below for you to get that. So the 2021 moon journal is a place for you to connect with the lunar cycles. It has an interpretation for every single new moon, every single full moon, the entire year, and then space for you to write in and reflect and contemplate, and a bunch of astrology basics resources in there for you as well. So an intense week, but I know that, you know, you can do it. And yeah, like this time is for you. That's really what I'm feeling this week is really about. And again, if you want to connect with that stillness, get a little energy clearing, a little meditation, I would love to have you join me for the Solstice Meditation Circle that's happening this Monday, the 21st at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'll have more information on that below. You can find it on my Instagram as well. I'm wishing you a wonderful week, sending lots of love. Talk to you soon.